Great. Look, thank you for the invitation for me to join you, and happy Mental Health Week. The role of the Mental Health Council in the mental health of Tasmanians is kind of interesting for us. So while we work really closely with the community managed sector in how we are supporting the recovery of people in our communities who have a known mental illness, we do also have a really strong focus on the mental health of all Tasmanians. Our vision is actually that all Tasmanians understand and value their mental health and well-being. And Mental Health Week is an event or a campaign, I guess, that we are able to look forward to every year, where our message is really being targeted towards all Tasmanians, and it's our opportunity to be able to talk to Tasmanians about their own mental health and wellbeing, and to encourage people to actually be considering everything that they can be doing for themselves and for others in regards to celebrating our best mental health outcomes. How businesses and organisations can support and maintain mental health workplaces, I guess my first response to that is that they actually just firstly need to make it a priority, and it needs to be something that senior managers and boards and all staff actually do value, and ways that it can be maintained is actually really incredibly varied. So there are a whole range of resources and services that people can access either online, or you can do a search and there's a number of organisations that will actually come to your workplace and talk to you about how you can be really focusing on mental health in your organisation. And I guess when I think about how we maybe work towards that as a council with our own team, is we try to make sure that we've got that balance between individuals and the team, and that we're also looking at small things that we can celebrate and that we can achieve, as well as looking at those more complex and more process-driven things. So on one level, we try to look at making sure that there are really easy ways for people to be raising their own personal concerns. We talk about buddy systems here. We talk about the value of always debriefing, especially in this kind of industry when we're quite often dealing with media or even with individuals and families that could be quite distressed. And then there's the other side of it, is looking at the policy procedures. So we look at having with our workplace health and safety reports that we give to our board as well as to our senior managers, we make sure that we actually have mental wellbeing as part of that agenda and part of those reports. So we look at trying to bring in those formal mechanisms so that effectively we're never losing sight of it. So I guess that's probably what I could have started with saying as the simplest response I can give in how businesses can support and maintain mental health in the workplace, is to actually never lose sight of it. It's just as important as our physical well-being. In fact, in this kind of sector, it's perhaps even more important. And it's something that we should be considering in our activities on a day-by-day basis. Why is self-care important for employees? I would almost say, why is self-care important for all of us in absolutely any context? But in regards to being an employee, by God, we spend a lot of our waking hours in our workplace or doing our job. And if it was to have a detrimental impact on your mental health and wellbeing, then I'd have to ask the question with whether it's actually worth it, or if there are ways that you can actually look towards taking actions, measures yourself to actually really be able to care for yourself and care for your own mental well-being. The life-work balance, we all talk about it, and it can be really difficult to be able to maintain, and it goes up and down, but it's always better to be able to recognise and address our health concerns, and that actually includes our mental health. Physical safety and emotional safety are actually equally important. So there's no question that there are ways that we can actually care for our own mental well-being, and that it's particularly important for us to be doing that when it comes to the workplace and our jobs as well. It's really important that we encourage organisations to address and support mental health in the workplace. I think, as I said earlier, it's really about ensuring that we all value it and that we don't just pay lip service to it. From an organisational perspective, there are very, very strong links, and there's a lot of research out there that talks about the link between productivity and mental health. And we know that it will, for people to be mentally well, we're going to see increased productivity, we're going to see less sick leave, we'll see greater team cohesion. You know, it tends to be better results all round if we've actually can say that we've got a mentally healthy workplace. I think the ways that we can be encouraging organisations to actually prioritise it is to make it simple. So there's no reason why we need to make it more complicated or to make it sound as though it's something that is likely to be onerous. There are very simple steps that people can take and organisations can take that can actually make a very big difference. We would be encouraging organisations to be opening up the dialogue, to actually have the conversations, to look at how you can create those safe spaces for individuals as well as for teams, and to look at how you can listen and respond to the needs of your staff and teams as well. And in my experience, it's quite often through those conversations that you'll actually get great ideas from staff in how they can actually, what they'd like to see implemented and what they'd like to see available. And they often have the ideas that will then bring everybody together and allow those conversations to happen more openly as well. Okay. Sometimes it's as simple as just making sure that I breathe. I think it's about, it is actually about taking time out. I always make a very conscious decision to make sure that there is at least a chunk of my week that I'm actually not looking at social media or at public media. I focus on walking, so I do quite a lot of physical activity. I'm quite happy to hit a punching bag a couple of times a week, but it's also taking that time most mornings where I'll go for a walk with my dog, and that's where I get to collect my thoughts and think about what I need to do for the day ahead or sometimes for the week ahead. I think it's about finding that quiet time, and I love to read. I can say that I have been focusing more over the last few years to practice mindfulness. So I can't say I'm great at it. I probably don't get to keep my focus on my concentration for much longer than about 5 minutes, but it actually does make a difference. So I do try on a daily basis, ideally at either end of the day, to actually take that time to a quiet space and practice my mindfulness as well. And I don't think you can, I know I've already gone past 3 things now, but I honestly don't think you can go past spending time with friends and family. So one of the really important things about understanding and valuing your mental health is also being able to access information really easily. So we've been working on a website which is to help people actually look at what's available for them by answering a few questions. The idea is that we'll actually help people narrow down what's out there, whether it's a phone number or whether it might be some apps or some websites, or it might actually be some services that would really target the supports that someone may actually benefit from. There is so much out there. We are talking about mental health regularly, and by we, I think I'm meaning everyone, government and the media and the general public. So we are all learning how valuable it is to be able to recognise our mental health and celebrate our mental health and wellbeing. The check-in is a way for us to actually be able to tap into the things that are actually going to suit us most and will actually respond best to where we might be at any given point in time. So it's checkin.org.au, and we would encourage anybody to jump on and have a look. And the most important thing is also to understand that you can suggest to other people to go to check-in, and it's really there for Tasmanians to be able to tap straight in. If they choose to reach out and to look for that information, then it's actually there for them.